I clicked the wrong button. I got kind of scared. Muscle memory wasn't there. But what up, what up, what up? We are live a little bit later than normal, but there was no way. There was absolutely no way that we could skip this show a year ago, despite what some people are trying to put out there in the world. And Facebook reminded me that me and Moose filled in for a podcast, a Gold Card podcast, and we discussed a couple of different things. One of which was Jackie Love. We'll be talking about Jackie Love again today. So the more things change, the more things stay the same. Oddly enough, both myself and Moose have had some AC problems with leaks. Mine getting leaks into my unit, Moose leaking into somebody else. He doesn't live above me, so it completely unrelated, but it is a very interesting set of coincidences on a day that has proved to be quite a weird day. Moose, I know you're tired. How you feeling?
I'm fucking exhausted. Let's do this shit. Happy 1 year anniversary. We're not the, how do you say it? We're not the heroes we need. We're the heroes we deserve, or some shit like that. Well, here we are. My cats are making a presence. We're gonna talk about top esports, and we're gonna bring back some popular lines and some great quotes for you guys. Like, is this team good? And some other ones. So I'm hoping we get some solid stereotypes today to add to the Book of Moose.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have the games to do it. And then we've got another man who couldn't make the show a year ago, but he can make it today. It is Mr. Gelati. How are you?
What's going on? How's it going, everybody? I heard people forgot about some things. We forgot to forget.
People forget about stuff all the time.
That was a dank meme.
People forget about stuff. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. So today was a day of upsets, a day of dogs. Not the dog that we wanted. It wasn't WE. WE catapulted my profits into the ground. Like, the catapult did not actually throw the rock. It just came through and just jammed it into the ground. I woke up to see that WE had lost on blue side, and I knew that was a fucking bad thing. Then they were competitive on red side, but then they just completely feeded. So not only did I not have a lot of JDG, I had a lot of WE, and then JDG put up just an insane amount of kills that really there was no hope for my massive RNG ownership to do anything, no matter what happened when they were on red side.
I did the exact same thing as you, by the way. I soft faded that match. I didn't do any big stacks besides cash. That was the only.
I had a couple.
I think I ended up placing with my cash lineup. It wasn't.
I had a couple, but I think I had dread, so I didn't wake up to check that, and because I didn't have enough of them that I thought it mattered, and certainly not in that lineup. I didn't know that was it for me. I had a bro lineup too. It just wasn't the right one.
I had a pro team, a couple pro team slots, no pro players though.
Moose, you probably did pretty good though, right? You had a little bit of JDG or a lot of JDG, or did I talk you out of the whole JDG thing? I don't feel like.
No, I was pretty good on. I mean, it was pretty much like a chalk night. It didn't feel like anybody even when Brawl won, they didn't really win that hard. So it was pretty much just chalk city, which is fine. We had a good day. And overall, I've never been more scared to play dogs, because whenever I play dogs, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage, and then I have to now look out about what side they're playing. If they're blue side, if they're red side, if they're yellow side, if they're crystal side, if they're fire red or leaf green side. I don't know anymore. There's a lot of sides going on, and now I have to sit there and think about who's got what side advantage. And man, I just willed it into existence. I woke up in the morning, exactly how I said, RNG, running down game 3 to win it. Exactly how I knew it was going to happen. We knew it. I don't know. I guess LNG got a new top laner, and he hasn't scored a kill yet, so good for him. But he did play a best of 3, so maybe he'll get on the board sooner or later.
Yeah, that was his first series. Panda C.
So, look, not only did we have that happen, we had what was supposed to be a glorious 5-game slate. The DraftKings doesn't care about. They don't care. They make the slate worse for the 1 5-game slate a week. They don't care. They're going to make it worse, and let's just boost up the 2-gamer. I don't know. You could have had this
20K to first on Monday or whatever it is.
Like the 20K to first obviously belonged to today. Like this is what this should have been. Yeah, but okay, so that happens. Then we go in. I completely touted Astralis. I didn't bet them. I didn't make any wagers. I was doing a bunch of different things, and then Astralis wins. So I quickly go in after I lost, several units on WE with all my crazy parlays that I put in last night, and almost everything else hit. So, to be fair, like BDS was a team that I put in some more parlays. They don't hit, but my Misfits bet hit. I had bet on SK, just not enough. I had a little Misfits and Rogue parlay. I just wish I could have left off BDS. I would have been a very rich man. It was quite the day. I know Moose avoided it, didn't play a lot of LEC, and
I skipped it. I'm out of the loop on LEC, and after looking at today's results, I'm fucking glad because that looked like a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, I would have lost all the monies. I think I played one lineup just for record keeping purposes, just to pull this.
I was gonna play.
I wasn't even.
I was gonna play some Fnatic G2 lineup and. Just
I was gonna play all Fnatic G. My cash lineup was gonna be 3 Fnatic, 3 G2 Astralis team, which sounds weird, but would not have worked. It would have looked real good after Astralis won and be like, yeah, I'm locked in, and nope.
But it wouldn't have because Astralis' team slot only scored 18.
He scored 14 points or something like that. It wasn't even.
No, it was 18. It wasn't a good. It wasn't a good. Yeah, it wasn't a good outing.
I do think Astralis and SK were slam dunk bets today, though, right? Was that any question in your mind? Number was just too big. I know SK looks real bad, but coming off a week off like that, you got to back big dogs like that.
We talked about it on the show yesterday.
Yeah, I got a lot of shit from my co-panelists about me just backing every single one of the dogs and saying you had to bet it because the odds were ridiculous. But who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? All right. Well, let's hop into this, guys. It's a little bit later. People need to go to bed because we don't have a 3:00 game that we can stay up and bridge to unless you're watching some LJL. I don't even know if they're playing. So let's hop right into it. What do we got? We got the first game. Let's go into this first game. Let's talk about DRX and T1. DRX a plus 375 dog here to take a game. They're almost even money. T1 has dropped quite a few games in series against teams that they shouldn't. Hanwha Life being one of them, who looked absolutely lifeless yesterday. This DRX team, somewhat fraudulent at times, but I guess T1 is fraudulent in the context of, this was touted as, one of the largest win streaks. A lot of things surrounded that. T1, do they sweep here? I think that they probably do, and I think you can take that minus 135. I don't know if you feel the same way, Vince.
Yeah, I when I was writing on this today, if you just look at the numbers, everything's going to tell you to bet DRX, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I don't know. You guys watched that last match against KT, right?
Yeah, we watched it.
Ironically, they're both playing today. It's the second match we're going to get to, but that was not a flattering series for KT or DRX.
Yeah.
That was just one of those nobody really won this series kind of series, and they happen once in a while. That's okay. You don't want to hold one series against everyone, but it was kind of a nice. It was like they put a frame around all the problems that both those teams are having, and by all the problems I mean mostly two players being Koshik and Vikla, right? I mean, there's other stuff, but those two players are clearly the last couple of weeks just really having a tough time, and yeah, I don't know. If you look at all the numbers, everything's going to tell you to bet DRX here. They're a competent team. You're getting a huge price for them, but I just couldn't do it. I stayed away from this one, on the sides anyway. I think T1's going to smash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they smash enough that this total goes over this 21.5 or 20.5, or even I think they basically have you even at 22.5, which is pretty generous. You're getting a whole extra kill for the LCK Moose. Break it down for me. Are we betting the unders? Are we betting a -1.5? Are we taking the +1.5? Where are we going? What are we doing?
If we use our historical data, we will notice that on July 1st, which is 2 weeks ago, T1 absolutely destroyed DRX. They 2-0'd them. They made them their bitch. It wasn't
Not in the
close.
first game. Not in the first game.
Yeah.
First game, DRX was ahead. They weren't gonna. They were outscaled, but they were ahead. They were like 2K up, I think, at 20 minutes, if I remember right. Anyway, go on. Sorry, I totally just interrupted you.
T1 is 2-0.
I think
Lock it.
2-1, 2-0s. And DRX didn't even
All
win
right.
that game. Is the point I was trying to make. That's
All right, guys, lock in DRX because everybody thinks we're predicting the 2-0. Is that going to be the thing that we're just unequivocally wrong about? There is going to be something. There is always something that could be it. I don't know if we all will agree on something as strongly as that. We'll look into pricing. I mean, I probably will take a look at some of the unders in this because I do think that these are two teams that have shown a tendency to just want to scale. And just not necessarily fight unless T1 decides to just draft a Lee Sin support with Yone and Yasuo and just break the slate. But anyway, let's get to the next game. This is a game that I think holds quite a bit of interest for some folks here. We've got BLG, a new look BLG that has not looked good in a lot of senses, but this is blue side BLG to the max here. Starting on blue side, -182 favorites, most expensive team on DraftKings from what I've been told. And Rare Atom, who both of these teams have been equally disappointing. Moose, I'm going to start with you. BLG on blue side, absolute crushers. Are you crushing this game?
Yeah, I like this game a lot because I don't have anything else to like tonight, thanks to the slate absolutely getting shit on. And we're missing our wonderful starting match, which was going to make my entire night. But yeah, BLG, they do have a lot of stuff to figure out. No question about it. They've been disappointing, but at the end of the day, it's RA. It's a nice type of game where BLG is going to get a chance to test out their starting lineup. Now they're bringing Fofo back. They're still playing this Can guy. Bin somehow still has a job, so we're good.
hey, they
This
got
is
the
gonna
trash
be-
can and the trash bin now.
Yes, they got the trash can, they got the trash bin. So
You got
they
the icon, another word for trash, right?
Yeah, he's also trash. Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, BLG is probably gonna squeeze into the playoffs and just get 3-0 or 3-1. Then we're gonna forget about this team until next year. But until then, I think they're just 2-1 or 2-0 here, and we call it a day.
Well, the reality is that this would have been a very interesting slate from a playoff implication standpoint. You have OMG, FPX, RA, BLG. All of these teams are grouped up right there at the bottom. They're fighting for that spot. OMG and FPX are both 4 and 5. BLG and Rare Atom, these teams have 5 wins between them and 12 losses. Predominantly, both of them have been losing on the red side. BLG starting there, I think you have to like them. I think that the number is there. And I guess, the advantage that you have if you start on that blue side is just you have the opportunity to sweep in the second game. It's almost like a free win. It wasn't for WE last night, but this BLG team, this RA team, I just don't have a lot of enthusiasm for either of them. And this +1.5 for Rare Atom, -210 seems a little bit high for me, but maybe I just take the +125 on that second map. It's something that's been very profitable for us, Vince. Do you agree? Is that where we're going? What do you think about these two wonderful, possibly playoff teams?
So you mentioned before, both of these teams are in the play. This is a critically important match for both of these teams because it's safe to assume that they're going to be pretty close in the standings from this point forward if they're going to make some kind of push for playoffs. If that's the case, whoever has the tie, like this could come down to a tiebreaker situation. So like any of these teams, like Ultra Prime, Anyone's Legend, Rare Atom, Billy, a lot of these teams that are in the middle, OMG, their head-to-head matchups, FPX too, which is why that it sucks that matchup's not going to be on here, like Moose said. But any of these teams in the middle like this, where the tiebreaker could potentially come up at the end of the season for who's going to get that 9th or 10th seed. I would expect a full effort from both of these teams. I agree with you. Both of these teams have been really, really disappointing. But I also don't think either of these teams are necessarily like bad. Like their record isn't good, right? Neither of their records are good. They both definitely have issues. But there's things that are good about these teams too. So it's not like these aren't dumpster fire situation type teams, right? Like this isn't a WE or an Invictus. You agree with that part of it?
I would say that they're dumpster fire teams, but not to that same extent. Yes,
they've definitely let down expectations, right? That's I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that, but I don't think they're like necessarily bad teams. So I don't know. I think you got to bake in blue side advantage. Even with blue side advantage, I think this is, I still like Rare Atom map 2, Rare Atom to take a map. Let me see if
I'm kind of liking this when I look at it here too. This 24.5. What is it on the other maps? Yeah, I mean it's about the same thing. This 24.5, 25.5. A lot of times these teams do go over that number. I think that's a spot that I might attack too, especially when it's map 1 and 3 where BLG seems to be the favorite. And I think you can, if you like BLG, I mean this minus 150 right here. That's interesting too, comparatively to the minus 165 and minus 170. They'll have blue side, assuming.
For the map total or for the series money line?
No, minus 150 for map 3 BLG.
I would just bet the series money line at that point. It's just better than betting both maps. If you want, you could also, the other thing to do, and I've been doing a lot of this, obviously it's a little weird doing pre-game content, and I've actually had to kind of stop doing that for, I've written about it, but doing like tracking live picks, like you can do that for yourself, but like doing it for like content creation is really difficult unless you're like live streaming or something. But
Sure.
Something I've been doing a lot since kind of catching on to this whole thing is just live betting the shit out of these games. Like if like you can watch like it's most books will just refund, like they'll just push or cancel a map 3 wager, but you can also just like watch and not tie up your equity that way and do it that way. Or, if you get weird situations like yesterday where WE opted into red side, which is the first time that's happened in what, like 2 weeks? It was like I was actually looking at that today. I think that was like the first time a team opted for red side in like the last 2 weeks.
I don't see why you're so surprised. They're just like, let's get it over with, boys.
Yeah, kind of. Like it was.
Let's get it over with.
Who was it? Oh no, it wasn't WE. It was
IG.
Prime. It was Ultra Prime the other day.
Oh, Ultra Prime. It was against EDG.
Ultra Prime against EDG. Yeah, it was Ultra Prime. It was like literally the only time anyone's opted for red side since
I think since WE
since
like
week
2
4.
weeks prior.
Yes, it's WE in week 4 against Rare Atom. So
yeah, I think Cookie posted it in the Discord a couple of days ago. The Discord has devolved into just blue side talk and memes. That's it. That's all it is.
We're blue.
All we do is troll now.
Someone's got to make the remix of that I'm blue and I'm a beaver or whatever the song is.
All right. So, I think we've got that one. We do have LEC and LCS, so we'll just move right along here. EDG versus Top Esports. EDG is another one of those teams that have, to me, they've looked good at times, but they just haven't looked quite as dominant, kind of like that Worlds hangover type scenario. Top Esports, on the other side of things, has looked good. They've looked good for my best ball teams. Hopefully Kevin gets those updated. If he hasn't already, I haven't looked. But I'm feeling good with my 3 and 4 man stacks at Top Esports. They're not the biggest and best in terms of scoring, but they are good at winning. Moose, Jackie Love, He's in the series. Knight's in the series. Wayward's in the series. Tian is in the series. Mark's here. What are they going to do? What are you feeling?
Is that some sort of a Moose quote?
No.
Look, it could be. It might be. You never know.
That sounds like some shit I would say. Look, if we do a little bit digging. By the way, I love when I look at your Bovada and the number gets bigger every day. I love it. So I just want to say that
it doesn't every day, but I try and hide it the days that it goes down. It's an embarrassment.
So you know he had a bad one.
Yeah. Look. It's going to be lower soon. I'm taking a bunch of profits, so don't think I had like a 40 unit bad day or something when it comes and it's much smaller.
All right, I'm not taking screenshots for the IRS or anything. Don't worry. So this series is this was supposed to be the cherry on top of the ice cream, but now that the ice cream is gone, all we're left with is this fucking cherry. So I guess we have to settle for the cherry. And in this case, historically, top esports have done really well against Edward Gaming, especially when it comes to regular season. I really don't see how EDG are currently within the top esports dimension, and the only thing that has me concerned was I was pretty like rock solid on this being just a solid top bet, but now that I think EDG has two blue sides, I have to question my entire existence, and therefore I no longer
the world we live in, right?
I know. Therefore, I no longer am sure, and I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like EDG are really at the level they want to be at, and they haven't been since the spring playoffs. So I feel like it's currently top season, and I hope that they don't blow their load before the playoffs. And in this case, this matchup has typically gone top's way 2-1 or 2-0, and I would probably look for the same thing here. No question about it. The man himself, Gelati, wrote a great article today about top just continuously reinventing themselves and finding new ways to dominate the meta, and for once they're actually ahead of it and not just like sandbagging until the playoffs. Exactly. So I really feel like if you're taking any play here, you might want to take a shot on the 2-0 and hope that top win the red side.
Yeah, I don't. So EDG are kind of doing the like what RNG was doing last season, where like I don't want to say they're like coasting, but they're just kind of like they're getting their wins. If you look at their underlying performance metrics, like they're good. Like they're not that much different than they were in spring. Like they're down, but they're still at the top. They're still toward the top of the league in pretty much everything. They're just not. They don't have these like ridiculous blowout wins, And I think a lot of times, like they're not V5ing people. Like V5 is just like destroying everybody. Like not like most of their games haven't even been close, right? But I think a lot of times, and you see this in traditional sports too, right? Where you have a team, like you have teams that are completely blowing another team out, and you have to give them credit for that, right? But what ends up happening is like nobody gives credit to the teams that are like winning by 8 or they're winning by 10 in a football game. They're not winning by 42. It's if you do that every game, yeah, you got to give credit to them. We do. I think we've all given enough credit to V5, but EDG are still right there. They're still very good. The players are really good. You would think in this kind of meta that they'd be excellent too. I'm a little surprised that they haven't been better, but I think these teams are close enough matched to me. Top has been the better team, no question. But I think they're close enough as it is, and then you're giving EDG blue on 1 and 3. So I actually think that tips it over the scale for me. I think EDG should probably be. Where did I make this at? Let me see. This should be pretty close to a 50-50 when you make the side advantage in. I think it was like 53-47 for top, something like that. So it should be a lot closer to even money than it is.
I want to hit you with the patented Moose line. Are these guys good?
EDG?
Yeah, are they good?
EDG are good. I think people are sleeping on EDG.
Have they beat anybody that's good this split?
Let's find out.
The answer is no, but please.
Oh, really?
I mean, in my opinion.
Are you saying the effort?
I mean, their signature win as it stands right now would be FPX in the first week, and then
Yeah, but
Weibo
FPX
at
was
2-0.
real bad the first 2 weeks.
FPX.
Well, okay. So they beat TT. So I know you're big on TT. They're 2-0. They 2-0 TT.
They
They 2-0 Weibo.
Right,
But other than that, man, they've they haven't really beat anybody. I mean, there's only like 4 or 5 teams that you really kind of weight that, and Top has those wins. Both of these teams, realistically, looking forward, have pretty easy schedules after this. EDG's is a little bit harder, but Top
EDG's has some tough ones on the schedule still.
But Top
has
has
an
like
easy
RA,
schedule.
Victory 5 is their only hard ones. They got LGD, TT, and AL. RA and Victory 5. So if you bet their overs, you're probably in a good spot.
Congrats to the winners on that one.
I know I took the under 11.5 on Victory 5, and that's not feeling good. In fact, I think I took the over, what was it, like over 6.5 or 7.5 or what was it?
Avalanche is going to come knocking on my door.
I'm sitting here now thinking to myself, like, the matchup I would want to see eventually is where EDG ends up looking, how they look against LNG, because I feel like both those teams are kind of in the same place where they're much worse than we expected them to be. But at the same time, like, EDG going into the season, like, we expected them to be good, like really good.
Yeah.
Like we expect.
Yeah, I have the over 10.5 on EDG and over 9.5 on BLG. So to say I don't have a rooting interest in how these games go, I haven't even bet anything, and I have very strong ones.
Yeah, I think EDG is way better than LNG and BLG. Like they're not doing, like, what's the cliche is, like, they're not winning sexy, right?
Sure.
But like EDG, if you again just look at their underlyings, like they are a good team, like they're a legit top 5 or 6 team. I don't think BLG and LNG you can say that about right now. BLG especially, because God, what the hell is going on with that team? But like, and then LNG are kind of just like a slightly better version of BLG. They have the same exact kinds of problems. They're just not quite as bad. Like, I got a lot of questions about those two teams. EDG is at least like pretty sound. They're just EDG's only fault is they haven't had like a trademark win against a really good team.
EDG and AL have the same record.
No. Ask yourself that question. That's another thing. Like, are we for real right now?
Are we?
Yeah. Like, they're not. AL is not that good. AL's going to make playoffs at this point because they have enough wins, but
it feels like I think the answer to that question is that maybe it's the fact that the LPL as a whole has really like just not been able to shift to this meta in a way where like teams are finding the same dominance they found before.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like
because think about it, right?
It was so what do you call it? Like stratified before. Whereas okay, like these are the 9 top teams. They are so much better than the bottom 8 teams. And then the only real question is there going to be like a team in the middle there where it's like, oh, they can sometimes beat the good teams? Usually no.
Yeah,
but
now
this season it's been yes.
There's just 5 teams. It's V5, JDG, TES, RNG, EDG. That's it.
Well, yeah, BLG was good last season. LNG.
No, I know. I'm saying now. Like now
they've dropped off. RA was good last season. FPX was good last season. They've all dropped off. So it's like
that's what I mean. Is that we had this like we were watching that entire bracket of teams compete for playoff spots and see where they end up because it was so close and tight in that sector. And now all those teams have kind of fallen off, and even Weibo, right? So now we have just like 5 good teams, right?
So here's I have an interesting one for you because I was thinking about this the other day. It's get your what's the oracle from the Matrix, like what's really gonna bake your noodle? Bake your noodle memes ready. How much of this is the blue side dominance? Because this really starts to mess with your head if you start thinking about it. Like is this like I haven't actually gone back and looked at the full schedule to be like, okay, like is it the case that all these bad teams just had side selection?
So which team do you want me to?
I don't just like any of them.
Pull up EDG. Pull up EDG.
So EDG had side selection against Up. They did not against OMG and they lost. They did have it against V5 and they lost. They 2-0 TT. They didn't have it against IG and they won. They had it against BLG. They did not against JDG. They
EDG's
did not
played more
against
red than blue
Weibo
this season.
And they
played
didn't
10
have
red,
it
they
in
played
week
10
one
blue.
either. I think you can kind of throw away probably like weeks 1 and 2 where it's 12-10 and people were just getting acclimated.
Yeah.
To some extent. But yeah, where on the other side of it, Top has had it. Honestly, Top hasn't had it very much at all. So
That's
they
what, yeah. So like
top-heavy.
this is what I'm saying, right? Is like I'm trying to do a better job of looking big picture at these leagues, right? Like that's been like the biggest edges I've had in the last 2 calendar years have been when I take a step back and look at the forest, not the trees, right? And looking at the LPL this season, like this is such a dramatic thing that like we might be able to recognize it on a match-to-match basis or even a week-to-week basis. I'm now zooming out and looking at it like from a season basis. Like, is the reason we're seeing so much parity because Blue essentially has a 65+% win rate, regardless of who's playing on it? Like,
Well, can you got Elixir open? How is EDG on blue sides? Are they just like
They're great on blue side. They're just
like,
shit on red. Like, look, so they're 8-2 on blue,
EDG's 8-2 on blue, yeah.
and then on red they're 5-7.
EDG actually is a pretty good red side team. Like that's a pretty good number for red side.
But you know who's better on red side is Top.
Top's a good red side team.
I mean, Top's just a good team.
Yeah,
it's not even about.
But no, so I guess like just to bring it back in before we get like too far off the rails here is like a lot of the parity that we've seen created here, and by parity I mean mostly like some of these bottom teams shifting up and some of these good not great teams shifting down. Is that primarily side motivated? Is it other things, or is it a combination of all sorts of stuff? Like, I think in BLG and LNG's case, it's a combination of a bunch of different things. I think it's the side thing. I think it's also like the roster situations. Like I think LNG kept trying to, or BLG kept trying to make Icon a thing. And then I also think that like those two teams had issues that they were going to struggle with in this kind of meta that I didn't identify properly going into the season. We talked about that like 2 weeks ago, how they relied very heavily on just having lane advantages so that like they had a cushion, like a margin of error going into like these mid-game fights because their mid-game setup was not good, right? As opposed to like OMG. OMG actually have pretty good neutral play. They just suck in laning phase a lot of the time. So I kind of thought this meta would be the opposite, but it's been like a lot of these teams that have just been laning people to death have struggled. Like you look at across the globe, it's not just here. So yeah, I don't know. It's really calling into question a lot of different things, right? Like, I don't know if any of these teams are actually like. I don't know if anyone's legend. I don't think anyone's legend's actually that good. But does it even matter? And the side advantage is only growing. That's the other crazy thing. It keeps ticking up. It's not like this is going anywhere.
It's just, yeah, we ran it like
7% now. Like, what is going on?
So
yeah, there was a period earlier this week where there was like 9 out of 10. It was just absolutely silly.
It's insane. I've never seen anything
hurt.
like this.
WE hurt us last night. We bought in completely, and they showed us that it still has a little bit to do with the team.
Past a certain point, if the team sucks bad enough, it doesn't matter. But I don't know. You could even say they probably should have won that game. They had opportunities to win that game. It was pretty even. They screwed it up.
I didn't catch it, so I can't say.
No, JDG had a gold lead, even though they had the kill lead in that game. But it wasn't by much. Like, JDG could have lost that game. I don't know. It's been real weird. The LPL's been real weird, but it's been a money printer, So
one thing that when we were looking back at that, one bet that I really like is actually BLG minus 130 here for first blood on their blue side. BLG is running the first blood 73%. So
it's not a bad look.
Red side, when we take a look at RA, their first blood is 33%. So I like that bet. I think I'm going to wager it right now. Where is it?
I don't hate that. I think RA. Yeah, they don't really have good first blood rate, if I remember correctly.
All right, so we've got that. Let's move into the last series here. I've watched more Kwangdong games than I have watched KT games. I know Moose is one of the biggest and best KT backers of all time. It was brought up in the chat today by Stu that like KDF is just better than KT. And I posed the question at what? Like, I don't think that this KDF team is good at like all. Like, I feel like they have been just absolutely garbage against everybody that they played. Yeah, they beat T1, but like, should they have? Like, they just so outscaled them and had such a better draft and still struggled to beat them. Maybe I'm buying into KT based off of, you know, some performances, but I think KT is actually a pretty good team. One of the biggest things that held them back in the earlier parts of the summer split was just an ability to close. Have they fixed that? No, I have no belief that they have. But if they fixed it even a little bit, if your boy Vikla plays just somewhat tangibly good, does his job.
He's just an average mid laner, then they win this a bunch. They probably win this 70% of the time. I don't know.
You know,
sure. And Moose, do you have your KT jersey ready for the series? Are you gonna rock it?
You know, the Freaks used to be blue, and when they were blue logo, I was for them. But now they're red logo.
It's a blue biome. Call us the Smurfs, dude.
Look, I'm wearing a blue fucking shirt.
Right?
I'm wearing a blue shirt. Okay, I'm legit wearing a blue shirt today for this event. So, yeah, you know, before the DRX game, how would you look at KT? Because, you know, Kwangdong beat them, but it wasn't necessarily like a good win, right? It was just like a typical 2-1 where like either shitter could have won, right?
Yeah, I think KT have shown me more good things than Kwangdong this season in general.
I think we just like KT generally better, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, this is just a 2-1 either way, right? We don't know who's gonna win. We don't.
Well,
this just feels so 50-50. Like, it's the most interesting match on the slate because KT is underpriced. But at the same time, it's like, am I gonna put money on KT at even odds?
Yeah, that was my thought. I was like, I'm betting KT here, but I don't like it at all. Like the advantage was big enough that I couldn't say no. But what do you think?
Give me plus
Chris?
110, plus 110, dude. Like, just give me plus 110.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take KT and like, you know, moving this into a DFS discussion. KT, when they win, actually score pretty well. When they lose, they don't give up a lot of deaths, and Kwangdong just doesn't get a lot of kills. So, you know, from a fantasy standpoint on these two teams, is there a lot outside of like a sneaky, you know, Teddy one-off? I don't know. It's hard to say. I get that you look at the nameplates on some of these guys and say, you know, this guy's better than this guy. But like, you know, ultimately that doesn't matter. We've talked about that. And, you know, I've broken down games like that. I know people that break down games lane by lane, but like laning is just such a small part of it. And the advantages you can get from being better than somebody are outweighed oftentimes by the other combinations, unless just everybody is better.
That's
then,
one of the
most
cumulative things, man. I'm with you. Like, that's one of the most overrated things. Like, I think as a scene in general, including like people on analyst desks, like on the broadcast, this is like, we got to get away from this shit.
What?
Like going
lane
by lane.
It matters.
It does. But like, it's all we
But,
focus
like,
on. It's like the nothing talking point. We have nothing else to talk about. Let's talk about the lane. Let's go lane by lane, fill space. Right.
Like, I mean, and we've actually seen it come to the forefront even more. So you can look at some of these games where, especially earlier in the split, where there wasn't this huge kill disparity, and you could see a really great macro team like Damwon when they're playing their best, and like the advantage that you can really get from that is what, like 2,000 over like a 30-minute period. Like if that's all you're getting, you know, at 30 minutes, a 2,000 gold lead, it's something. Don't get me wrong, but it's not 2,000 at 5 minutes like we see sometimes in these games. Exactly. You know. But don't get me wrong. Like if every lane can get 1,500 at like 20 minutes, and yeah, okay, so a 4,500 gold lead at 20 minutes is something. But how often do we see just large mismatches? And like when we see those type of mismatches, I don't think we're looking at the game and saying, well, like I think this is going to be close. It's like this is a bad team and this is a good team. You know, if you have 3 dominant lanes, you're probably have a dominant jungler because his job's a lot easier. I
think this cuts a couple different ways too. Like if you think about like there's the this doesn't matter as much if the team's bad and the team's good. There's that bucket. Then there's another angle, which is it doesn't matter if this guy's getting the help and this guy isn't, right? Then there's the other angle of like, okay, is the draft enabling this or is the draft not enabling this? Like, so what ends up happening is you take all of those factors together and it kind of just compresses everything toward 50-50 more because it averages and averages and averages and averages, right? And it normalizes everything closer to an even spot. Now, the funny thing is, like, if you have specific players that are like matchup breakers, those are the ones I actually pay attention to, right? Like,
Sure.
actually, I think the highlight matchup in this one is like the biggest mismatch. If we're going lane by lane, is Vikla and Fate. Fate's really good. Fate,
Sure.
I think, Fate and Keen are unbelievably good. Teddy is still unbelievably good. This team's issues are the other two positions.
Is Keen good?
Keen is good.
Keen is good.
Keen's still really good.
Yeah, but
Keen
you know
doesn't
what?
get a lot of help, but
I mean, Rascal's been bad from a fantasy standpoint, but it's
Rascal's
like,
a great player, but he is bad from a fantasy standpoint. I'm with you there.
and that wasn't the case last year, or
it
in
wasn't
spring.
okay.
He was actually like a
He had the
shining
second
spot.
most solo kills or most solo kills, I think, last season.
I forget who he was playing though. Was he playing like Akali or what was he playing to get killed?
He's
Those
playing all
kills,
sorts of shit. Rascal's really, really good. I think a lot of people looked at when he was on Gen G and thought that he was just getting carried by a good team, but like no, he was a big part of that team. Like he was
carrying
part of the
BDD.
reason.
That's what we've seen.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
top
He
lane.
was. He's the dude. He's Broken Blade. Everyone looks at Caps and everyone looks at the big name brand players, but like, who's the real MVP on that G2 team?
We need better top lane.
Broken Blade breaks up so much shit for that team.
It's also like just the top lane meta in general is like, are you getting Gangplank? No. Okay, bye. Like you're not
Yeah,
scoring
it's
points
Gangplank.
tonight.
It's Gangplank and Gnar, and then like
It's
whatever.
Gnar versus Sejuani. Sejuani versus Gnar. Oh shit. Here
Sometimes
comes
you
the
mix an
Sejuani
Ornn
running
in.
in.
Sometimes you mix a Gwen in.
They showed like when the observer looks to the top side, it's the same shit every time. It's Sejuani running up like fucking this for no reason.
Yep.
Doing her blue shit, backing up. Oh wow, insane play.
It's funny because I'm watching the replay of the LEC right now, and I look up. I was like, I wonder. Oh, it's Gnar versus Ornn. There we go.
Yeah, and Ornn throwing his fucking boomerang around over. Oh, sorry, Gnar throwing his boomerang around. It's like just kill me, dude. Like this top lane meta is so, like I thought top lane was boring last year. It's insanely boring this year. Like just give me Ornn.
What?
Like, I'm fine with Ornn every game. Fine.
You know what's not boring though, Moose? Ultimate Spellbook. It's back for a limited time. One of my favorite game modes for at least a week.
Yeah, it's good for a dozen matches in the other card. I'm good.
Yeah, it's good if we get blue side.
The other thing that's good about it too, or I guess isn't good about it because of like the disparity of people playing. I think that they have a hard time matching, and like so you'll get like gold players versus like bronze players, and your teams are all it's just completely different. And I guess it's a problem because sometimes lanes just get absolutely just dumpstered, and I don't know. Sometimes I'm the one getting dumpstered because I'll play top, I'll get like a gold top laner, and my bronze 4 Lilia top just doesn't hold up. Let's get to cash, guys. Let's get to cash.
I was just thinking about this, man. Like, how are you building cash on this? Because, like, I think, like, what is your gut take, Moose? Like, what is the like on a whim? Like right now, what's the cash? Like, what's going to be the cash line?
Ass. It's this cash lineup is bad. Like this is. Like I finished building cash right before this, like, and I just kind of straying around, and I mean the answer's top esports, but it's just like
top T1.
Yeah, it's top T1, but you're not happy with it, like because you're not really getting the players you want in the positions, and like unless you're playing somebody from BLG or 2 players from BLG, then you're gonna end up getting stuck with. You're gonna end up getting stuck with Faker, and Faker will give you 50 because like I don't know what he's doing, bro. He's like victory lapping his way through these games. Like,
is this a slate where you do like the 2-2-2?
I mean, I
don't know. This looks like a Mark Captain slate to me. This looks like Will might be winning all the money.
I was gonna say the Mark Captains would.
This is either Mark Captain slate or like you just trust T1 to do what they did.
I like Zeus Captain more.
Versus you trust T1 to do what they did versus DRX before because T1 went off against DRX when they played 2 weeks ago. You know, Zeus put up good numbers, Owner put up good numbers, Saguma put up good numbers, Kiria had an amazing game, so you just play those people. The problem is that like if you try to get remotely creative on the slate, you have to play Faker, and it's like, dude, I just don't want to play Faker in my lineups. Like the guy just doesn't want to play the game. He doesn't care.
He doesn't want to play the fantasy game. Let's make sure.
Yeah, he's not a fantasy type of guy. Like he doesn't want to play fantasy.
All right. Top score really well is the thing, but I actually think BLG are a bigger favorite than top are. Like, not the markets don't agree with that, but like my numbers say BLG are a bigger favorite.
I like it.
I think T1 BLG is the build. It both of them feel like shit. Don't get me wrong. Like maybe the way is to do like. Is there a way to do like a weird 4-2-1 with like?
No, I'll just play. I mean, I'll play top. Like I'll just play top, and then
That's
I
fair.
I think this is one of those slates where like your captain has to win and you're fine. So if you just put Zeus up top and
I
and
think
T1 wins, you're good.
I like Zeus top with 4BLG. That's
Also like if you look at Jackie Love's record, it's insane. Like you can't not play Jackie Love. Like the man just, I don't know.
So that's the thing is like I like BLG more as a favorite, like as a bigger favorite, but top are a way better fantasy team.
Oh, they are, yeah. And
so it's even in a like I don't know, let me see how like top scores and losses because
they score well. Everybody's scoring well tonight. Everybody's doing well tonight.
This is a tough one. I mean, there's a chance that like you get like a 2-1 in that top EDG series, and maybe you won't. I don't know. It's cash. You never want to play both sides of a match, but like, I might do that in like larger fields tonight. Like, I might play a 4-2-1 with like a small stack top and a small stack EDG kind of situation, like a 2-1, like in some iteration with those two teams, and 4T1 or 4BLG.
You guys want to know the real reason why Top Esports is so good?
No.
Okay, good night. Because they got the Chad Mark on the team.
No, you want to know the truth because like they've been playing pretty clean. Like they kind of just let the other teams mess up.
Yeah, it's because Mark's on the team.
Mark
doesn't fuck around. You know, when he was on LGD.
No, Mark fucks. He fucks around all the time.
No. He fucks, but he doesn't fuck around.
Oh yeah, he goes in with a purpose.
Well, like he's just, when you watch Mark play the game, like the facial expression he makes when he's drafting is "I'm too old for this shit." Like he wants to win. Like he literally just wants to wrap it up and win. He's there to win.
Dog shit
so like
teams, dude.
so like he was on LGD for so long, he got tired of their bullshit, and then he gets a chance on a real team, and he's like, all right, fuckers, like everybody's playing well right now. We're all gonna be playing well, like and and he's setting up Jackie. So I don't know, man. It just feels like that was like the deciding factor. That and whoever's Top Esports' coach is just really fucking good.
Top, yeah. The other thing with Top is that they're maybe the best. I think they are the best red side team in the LPL right now. Best or second best, if I remember right. But yeah, I don't know.
Absolute Chad.
This is a weird. I think I'm gonna go with BLG. I think over Top.
I mean, Victory 5 is the best red side team, but
yeah, but they're the best everything team right now.
Top's right there, and then surprisingly, Weibo is one of the only other teams that has a winning record.
You know why that is?
Because the Shy sandbags blue side.
Because the Shy is such a sad. No, the Shy is such a matchup breaker, dude.
Because
that guy's like, give me a losing matchup, I'll win it. He does that. Like, they might not win the game, but that dude takes losing matchups and wins them way more than anyone ever should. It's fucking nuts. God, that guy's got to get on a world championship caliber team. Oh wait, he went to a finals.
Do you think that if one of these LPL mid laners is just sitting and not doing anything, goes and joins KT, they might actually be a real team?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like there's 2 or 3 teams that have mid laners just sitting.
I think if they traded Fate for both Arya and Vikla, they'd be way better.
They could get Nemesis. He's over there. He's there. Nemesis is in Korea, right?
Yeah, get Nemesis.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's looking like now, but
get anyone. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Gelati.
Here's what's frustrating.
Get on a plane.
Dude. Here's what's frustrating about this, right? Is that
Karthus mid. They're not ready.
The first few weeks, Vikla actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, on
The
Ari.
last like 2 weeks, he's just been pure dog shit. Like he's not even looking at the map. What is going on?
I mean, I'm sure we could find a clip somewhere of Moose begging for Vikla to come back. I clearly remember it.
Well, that's because Arya's bad. Arya's got to go back to Japan, bro. Like he just doesn't got it. He just doesn't have it. Just go to Japan, bro.
All right, so I think Arya was what we thought he was. Like we kind of thought he was gonna get like little brothered a little bit, and he did, right? It's like, okay, like this is a big step up in competition. You're basically going 2 tiers up here. Like you're skipping from here to here. It's gonna be a big difference. And sure enough, he did. But he was like okay. Like I thought he was better than he was going to. He did better than I thought he was gonna do. I'll put it that way. But they got to do something with this situation. And honestly, like it's funny they're playing against Guangdong tonight because I think Fate's kind of in a weird ass opposite situation where he's like, "Can I get on a good team, please?" Like,
I mean, you don't think Teddy feels the same way?
did you see? I forget who it was. I think it was Showmaker. Showmaker did an interview. I forget if it was like one of their little in between interviews or if it was just with Ashley Kong or Inven or whatever. But he was talking about who he thinks some of the better mid laners are in the league, and he mentioned Fate. And I have a lot of respect for what Showmaker thinks in general, like in all aspects of the game, because he's God pro player, God solo queue player, like everything he does. He's just good at everything. So that kind of like rung out a little bit to me because Fate, it's funny, he had kind of a weird career where everyone thought he was just like the global guy, one trick, like Galio, Twisted Fate, Rise. But he's a pretty damn good player. I don't know. I'm getting off topic. We were doing cash, right?
Yeah, so just to confirm, BLG has 2
That never happens though, so we let it go.
So BLG has 2 blue sides tonight?
Yes, they do. I like 14. I like, man, it's like with a crisp captain, which sucks. Oh no, you can do. If you're gonna do 4T1, it has to be with a support captain, I think.
So let me ask you this: I think Cash, BLG T1. You're a support captain unless you're trying to get kind of crazy.
You could do Zay. You could get a Zeus if you play 3T1.
Just play top esports. They're gonna win.
So,
the game.
but here's my thing. What are you playing in winner take alls?
In winner take alls, I'm slamming ADG.
I think so.
Because like I said, I think that's a 53-47 matchup after side advantage. It's only 53
right.
for top.
Yeah, maybe last year.
No, right now.
Man,
right now.
I want to believe in them, but
they have blue twice, dude.
Oh, we can't do this.
Yeah, this is a blue side thing too, Moose. Like this is it's like a pretty even game. It's a blue side game, and
like it's top favored without side advantage. It's like 60-40 per map. That's what I made it, right? But side advantage, it's just not like
the blue man group.
And look, in when it comes to a winner take all, you just want like, who do you think people are going to play? Who do you think people are like is the safest lineup? Obviously, it's T1.
Everyone
but how are you
top,
going to fit T1?
T1.
Like,
everyone's top in T1.
Will that lineup you posted has KT versus KDF in it?
Maybe he's a god.
Yeah, maybe.
I think what Nathan said's right. I think Betty's sneaky on this slate.
Who's sneaky on this slate?
Betty.
Yeah, Betty's definitely sneaky on this slate.
You know, the problem with Will's like expected value numbers is they're all biased, dude. They're all biased off of his projection. Of course he builds his lineups around it. Of course he's gonna have the best expected value. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Aiming scored more than Teddy in their last matchup. And KT lost. So
aiming you saw that. Look, if there was anything to tip your hat to in that KT DRX series, it was that aiming was like, give me the goddamn rock, I'm winning this fucking series right now. Because it literally looks like 10 minutes into the second game, he was like, no, I'm done with this shit, let's go, I'm making a play. And he did, and that was
do you guys think that
that series.
Do you think like Unforgiven looks like an Amish guy that like left the Amish and is still like farming but likes to bowl sometimes?
I don't even know what Unforgiven looks like these days.
I've got a take, a bowling take.
I don't under. Okay, sure.
Bowling is always more fun than you ever think it's gonna be.
It's always more fun.
It's always more fun than you ever think it's gonna be. Change my mind. Can't do it. It's always more fun than you think it's gonna be.
I don't know, but I think it gets frustrating after a couple of tosses.
Yeah, that's why you have to be drinking while you do it.
There you go, Moose.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. It's like he shaved his beard.
I mean, and if you look at him like on the broadcast, it's way worse.
Can we get an MS Paint job here? Can you copy and paste that and then draw a beard on him real fast?
Hang on. I'll ask somebody.
It looks like Guggs had a kid or something. Like a European kid or something.
Dude, it's so funny that like I don't want to bitch about it because like it's a money printer. It's literally been just bonkers. It's so much free money, right? But it does make building for DFS real weird because you kind of have to bake in that like. So here, the other catch with this, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, is generally speaking, when underdogs win, especially in the LPL, it tends to be a higher kill game. So a lot of the script has been going, not always, but a lot of the time, the script has been going, okay, if favorite has side selection in 1 and 3, they smash game 1. Then the underdog has some like crazy goofy game 2 where it's like 18-14. They score a bunch of kills. It's a total clown fiesta, and then favorite smashes game 3. Or it's the other way around where it's like a fiesta game 1 that ends up being a coin flip. One side wins, one side doesn't, and then the favorite smashes game 2. Or you get like this morning where it's like you had fiestas in both, and JDG just scored 45 kills in 2 games or whatever it was, 48 kills. I don't even remember. It was a lot.
Blue side, no match for Kanavi.
Okay,
all right,
Kanavi's a fantasy god. Can we just go ahead and say that?
Let's wrap this up on the LPL LCK. Will, you missed the joke there. I'll happily take a head-to-head challenge, though. You missed the joke on the only bias. We're independent thinkers. That's all I'm saying here. Like, obviously, when you're putting in the numbers and you're taking the numbers out, there's bias involved in that, man. You're making them say what you want them to say. We're all living in your sim.
Bias background, dude.
I had it. I think I deleted it like with my last cleanup. I had it for a while, but Kanavi is not a poor man's Zune. Like 2 years ago, but before we're just spamming fucking Xin off meta as a pick.
Kanavi's just playing.
You don't have rookie in the mid lane either.
There you go.
That's probably the bigger problem. So big takeaway here. I think if you're looking for a dog, I think EDG is your dog.
EDG's.
I think your other dog, though, you could play a little bit of RA, and it's not going to feel good. You're going to throw up, and what's going to happen is RA is going to lose the first game, but they're going to get 7 or 8 kills, right? They're going to be there. They're going to get around 20 points. They're going to win map 2. And your hopes and dreams are just going to be feeling good, man. You're going to be feeling good. You're like, all right, let's do this. They're on red side. You know that they're still on red side. And it's going to be a problem, and but you, in your head, you're like, "Fuck yeah, man!" This is just like the other day when BLG lost the first game or whatever it was. You're like,
fingers gonna be on that bet now, Key, being ready. Here we go, man. I like this comp. I like this comp. It looks good. We're in good time.
Yeah, and then you're gonna see the comp, and it's obviously a worse comp. But you're gonna be like, no, man. But they scale,
you're gonna convince
right?
yourself that it's good.
It's like when the other day I was like, why the fuck did they draft like this? You're like, no, Bard's really good. It can get to the back. Motherfucker, nobody's picking Bard in the LPL.
Yeah,
come on,
they banned Bard. That's what it was.
Bard's too much of a.
Yeah, I'm saying they banned Bard. You're like, but yeah, they would have really got to the back line. I'm like, nobody's picking fucking Bard.
You were right. It made sense, but no LPL support's gonna pick Bard unless it's Lumao. Or Iwandi.
The conversation between the support and the captain and the coach wasn't like, well, we could get Bard and really attack the bench. No, they're like, can I take Renekton?
You play
can I take Renekton here? Oh man. And hey, did you know that Selfmade, when he played top lane, played Renekton both times? Just throwing that.
I didn't know that. How do you do? Did they win?
They won the first game. I think they lost the second game. Let me take a look. I know that.
Yo, can I ask you a question? Why do you have ONG and FPX blanked out on the filter teams tab there?
They have COVID.
I thought we were playing remote. Who says there's no edge anymore, dude? This is bullshit.
I don't know who says it when I can put out a tweet from March and get you
That's
twice.
fair. All right. You got it. You got it. You fucking got me again.
He got me so good, bro.
Dude, every time you do that shit, I just think of like the scene from Super Troopers. Like, got you good, fucker.
Dude, the first day at LOL Arena, this split was remote because they still have.
Well, I legit didn't think that I would get anybody. Like, I thought like the joke had ran its course, and like everybody knew.
Well, no, that's why it was so good
again.
because it ran its course.
And I thought to myself though, I was like, "There's no way I'll get Gelati. Like Gelati's smart enough that he's not going to get caught here." And then all of a sudden, I look at my email and it's fucking Patreon blast. I'm like,
this big idiot,
man.
dude.
Holy shit, dude.
Man, so I feel like nobody's gonna be on alright tonight at all.
To a point, I thought you were trolling me. I thought it was sent directly and only to me as like a joke to make me believe that I got you. Like, that's what I thought.
Moose, you say
Moose.
Guangdong? So I think literally all four of these dogs are live tonight. Like even DR. I think DRX is the least likely. But I think DRX could, I don't know, if T won't fuck around too much. Like they could they're more, all four of these dogs are more live than a lot of slates. Especially the bottom.
Shot wearing like red eyeshadow today?
Yeah, why not? It's League. It's Riot Games. They won't let Bjorkson play in the show match with Mr. Beast, but they'll let anybody do anything else.
I was talking to somebody about this earlier.
All right, well, fair enough. Let's and Jelati, I don't know if you saw the Tyler one post that I put in the other day. He was obviously upset at how bad Ludwig was. And
no, I did see that. I did see that. Yeah.
Did you guys see Tyler's rant yesterday about the LCS? And if it's on live stream fails, but he basically said some shit like, I feel bad for the casters. They have to sit there and talk about their day while the winning team scores 2 kills in 35 minutes. He was like, dude, he's like, the LCS is bad, bro. It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. Speaking of that, let's get into the LEC and then the LCS. Yeah. Gelati, any last thoughts on the LCK before we get there?
Don't treat these favorites as heavily as you would normally treat them. Like, ignore the Vegas line. Blue side is very real. I actually, like I said, I think if I had to give one bit of advice on this slate, it's that BLG are a bigger favorite than Top R.
But
are they?
Yes.
Tell me this though.
Yes.
Tell me this. It doesn't but it doesn't feel good, right? Like, you know.
Oh no, it doesn't feel good, but that's what it is.
At some point, it's just gonna fix itself, and you don't know when that's gonna be. But it is an advantage. It doesn't. To me, this
I'm
feels.
monitoring it, dude.
It feels shakier than the under barrage that I went on, where I'm just blind picking unders.
That's
at
different.
some point, I just felt fucking good doing that, right? I never feel good betting blue side until
I feel good doing dude. The reality of the situation is you usually only get one of these things per year, and we've had 2 in the same season. So just consider it like a second birthday, and just don't think about it. Yeah. It is what it is. And I literally have a separate tab open monitoring this shit to just be like, okay, is this trending downward? Is this trending upward? I'm watching the drafts too to see if teams are getting creative trying to figure this shit out. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of teams aren't still. As a matter of fact, DRX maybe are the most creative team that I've seen on this patch in terms of red side drafting. But they, just aren't executing quite as well on it as other teams are. So.
All right, well, let's hop into the
LEC. They're 3-6, Gelati.
Who?
Jesus Christ! I've been trying to close out this.
Yeah, they're 3-6, and RA is 2-6.
I've been trying to close out this segment for 15 minutes.
LEC, let's go.
LEC. All right, SK Gaming riding high, plus 335 against Gelati's number 1 team in the LEC. Also upset recently, but a minus 500. Marcoon captain? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah.
I've watched one day of the LEC being back from vacation, and I got to tell you, SK Gaming a plus 335 feels free.
You got to bet it. You have to bet it. You have to, at some point, you have to make a rule. If you're betting enough stuff and you're volume betting, Like, I don't know where that rule is, but I do know that plus 300 is 100% within it. And maybe that's the line. Maybe it's plus 275, but there is a number. Like, if you, like, here's the thing that you can look at, especially like, so SK, you bet 1 unit on it, right? They win. You can do whatever the fuck you want the rest of the day. You just have 3 units to blow on anything. Just like if you had bet on Astralis, then you probably would have had the unit to bet on SK. And then if you had bet on SK and Astralis, you probably bet on Misfits. And if you bet on Misfits, you probably bet on BDS, and that hurt. Like, you probably picked up 5 or 6 units. You can go into this. You're free rolling. You are free rolling at this point.
I can't with the magical Christmas land, dude.
Bro, that sounds literally like the whole thing where it's like in Family Guy where it's like, oh, it's a mystery box. It could be anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It could even be a boat. You know, like that.
Do you ever see that? So there's a guy on TikTok that goes into like pawn shops and he's like, how much is this? And they're like, it's like $5. He's like, you could either have $5 or I could give you what's in this mystery box. It could be anything. And they're like, and all the time people are like, no. He's like, well, do you want to see what's in the mystery box?
You present
and it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that people that run pawn shops wouldn't take it. Like, it's a $3 or $5 item that you bought for one, and then he'll pull like $5,000 out of the mystery box. And one guy recently just called the cops on him. Like, the guy had a lot of money. I don't know where he got it from. It's like, bro, he was trying to get a $5 video game. And you wouldn't take a fucking mystery box. You wouldn't take a chance. Like, what if there's nothing in it? Oh, you're out $2? Like, of course he's fucking doing it for content. People are fucking idiots.
Yeah, but what if there's only like $6.50 in it?
Rick Harrison's probably like, best I can do is $2. For this
take the SK plus 9.5. That's the bet here.
All right, I'll have
plus
totals
9.5 and sprinkle on the money line if you like it.
I will post bets and totals tomorrow morning. That is assuming that I don't wake up at 4 a.m. and get wasted watching LPL LCK, which is my plan. I was going to stay up throughout the night, but I think I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to do it. In which case, I'm probably not betting anything for LEC, or I shouldn't. Next game, Astralis and Mad Lions. Moose. If SK was free, then Astralis is like, they're paying you to take this, are they not?
Paying me to take this.
Is there any player within the LEC that is more exciting than Jae Young Hoon? Gelati.
Jung Hoon?
I call him Jae Young Hoon.
Yeah. He's fun. He's a fun player to watch.
The pure joy and excitement on that man's face when they won was heartwarming to me.
The people would say he fucks.
He does.
No, seriously, he does. Like, if you watch the way that dude plays, that guy gives. I feel bad because like Moham is basically doing the same thing in the LCK right now, but like he does. Jesus Christ, that joke was good. You flashed it up on the screen for like 2 seconds. That was good though.
Well, it's like boom. It's like this. It was this into
yeah,
this.
No, I seen it.
Earlier, Spell made another one. He said some shit.
Yeah,
that's like USA might be going red side.
Spell's the real MVP.
So, Gelati, like last year, 2 years ago, or just it was last year, there was just a plethora of amazing jungle talent within the LEC. Is there any league that has the plethora, the abundance of support talent that the LEC has right now? Like, I feel like this is a loaded league when it comes to supports. Targamas, Trimby, Kaiser, Mr. Hoon, Mursa. Like, Mursa's developing.
Hillystong in that list.
Yeah, Hillystong, Mickey X, like every single one of these guys. Who's the worst? Is it Treats? Is it Treats right now? Like, even Urdot, I don't know how you say his name, but that's how I say it. Iridote, yeah. Is that how you said it in EverQuest, though? Like, is that how it was said in EverQuest? I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. Even he's been pretty good. Like, it's probably Treats, but like Treats is still a good player. Like,
do you take the Astralis plus 200 here, or just skip it because Mad Lions actually wins games we're supposed to win?
It's probably Astralis, dude.
Really?
Oh, the Erudites. He's just Googling on EverQuest, dude. I take it. Here we go. Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't run my numbers for today yet for the LEC. I got to do that after we get off of here. But if you like exclude today, which actually this is probably a good exercise, right? Like just for the sake of this, it's probably a good exercise, right?
Not as
If
good
you
as
exclude
push-ups.
today,
Oh,
I
my
made
God.
this minus 160 plus 125. So yeah, it's a little rich. Probably take Astralis. What's the Astralis kill spread? I like kill spreads. LAC still an under league, by the way, so far. Astralis is 7.5, which is not great. I was hoping it was 8.5, but I like SK plus 9.5. I like Astralis on the money line.
So I'm going to test the rule that we just made 2 picks ago and see if see what you guys think. We got BDS
Nope.
plus 500 against Rogue.
No. Fucking. By the way, can we say finally somebody played Tarek with Kalista? I tweeted about this. Like, it's such a good meta for that, right? Blue side just
I
gets a
believe
power
it.
pick
There's-
80 carry.
There's no player I hate seeing in an ARAM more than a Tarek.
It's
dude,
so good. It's
you want
so
to play
powerful,
Tarek
dude.
and oh my God, fucking nobody dies.
Dude,
You're like
if I told
Tarek
you
and
the
a
meta
fucking
game was
Kindred.
about longer fights where there were 2 or 3 rotations of all the spells, who were the best characters in the game? Like, just name a few off the top of your head.
What if
Tarek's
you had
in that.
So what if you had a let me make a comp for you here. You got a Tarek Senna bot lane.
Yeah,
You got Kindred in the jungle.
this is saucy. Okay.
Who are we putting in the top lane?
Born.
Set.
You
We're gonna
need
put Set in the
Engage.
top lane. Got Set.
Ew. Why?
Kind of solo queue bullshit is this?
Who are we putting in the mid lane? Who do we got?
Lysandra.
Yeah, or maybe even a Victor in there.
No, you need Lysandra. You need hard CC, hard engage.
What about Syndra?
Not as good.
The fucking best champ in the game. What the fuck are we
Syndra's
talking
very
about?
good. I'm with you, but not right now.
Yeah, BDS suck.
Yeah, BDS don't look great.
Big
Hot takes, guys. Holy shit! On to the next match, I guess.
It's for real.
The next match
This
actually
is-
interesting, so.
The next 2 matches are both interesting. We got Misfits versus G2. Misfits absolutely undervalued for a long time because they look like shit and they're terrible in the early game. And they continue to be terrible in the early game. But I don't think that there is a better late game team. It's just how far do they fall back? But I will say something. I didn't watch all of the LEC today, but that irrelevant flash forward Gnar alt into the flash Mursa bandage Mumu alt engage in the top red side jungle was phenomenal, and it just absolutely turned that game around. They were down at that point, and that was what they needed. That is just just CC hell, dude.
It's almost as good a wombo combo as the T1 one from last week. Do you remember the one I'm talking about? Where they played the Yone Yasuo shit, and they had the Herald fight, and they were behind, and they just wombo comboed the shit out of whoever it was, and the game was just over.
Well, I don't know the one you're talking about, but I thought the nice thing about this was not only that Irrelevant saw what he needed to do, went in, made it happen, but it was as soon as he did it, Mursa knew that he was just he had to flash, do the ability. It was beautifully layered.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was great. I actually had a lot of Misfits, and that's why I thought it was great. If I had a lot of Fnatic, I probably wouldn't have thought it was.
Yeah, I bet Fnatic on the money line in this, just going with numbers, but I half staked it because I was a little sus on coming off of the week break. I tend to give underdogs a little bit of a bump coming off of a break like this. I also think Misfits. I mean, we talked about this. We probably talked about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. Misfits are not as bad as their week 1. They're not that bad. I'm not saying they're going to win the league, but like that was just a nightmare week. You can't put too much stock into that.
Well, speaking of nightmare weeks, like G2 like is having like a nightmare month. The MSI hangover took a little longer. They hit a little hair of the dog. They were looking good. They were feeling good, and boom, it is hit them. It's hit Saigon Buffalo. It's hit a couple people. We'll talk about another MSI participant in a little bit here, but G2 have not looked like a team that I don't know. I've laid minus 190 on them multiple times to have them lose. I think I'm going to take Misfits here plus 175 and just, as Moose would say, Gelati says, hold your nose and take it here.
Yeah.
I think you feel good about it though.
Let me see. This is again just without today's 220 minus 221 plus 167, so fairly close to market. Actually, very close to market. Correlated model's been tracking the market like extremely well. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, I think you look at Eye of the Tiger, like qualitative, like just eye tests, like got that dog in and whatever the hell you want to call it, but.
I mean, I think
Misfits got a lot of ground to make up, dude. Like they're in it now. Like they are sending it every game from here forward.
Well, and I think the other thing is that they figured out that they can play to some of their strengths, and I think that's always been one of the things that we've seen with Misfits. VTO has a champ pool where he really accelerates the game, but he excels at. He's one of the best mid laners when he's within his champ pool. When he goes outside of it, he's still very good. But when they don't play to that or don't feel like that they can play to that, it's problematic. Like specifically when Akali isn't playable, but like he can't play Akali all the time, so he has other picks. But when they understand how to play within his strengths, within the meta at the same time, they're a very good team. They're not a team that's going to win the playoffs. They're not a team that's going to go to Worlds, but they are a team that can win at plus 175 against G2.
Yeah.
On week 4 of the LEC summer.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they took extra time off or if it was just a really bad read on the metagame for them. That's what it seems like to me, is that they interpreted it as one thing and it was not that thing, and maybe they tried to do something different and realized that that wasn't going to work for them. Sometimes you see these periods of exploration with teams. You see this in pro sports too, where teams are trying to figure out who they are, And I think maybe Misfits just had a really condensed short version of that over the last month or two. But I don't know, they looked better this week, but then again, you never know. That we could have saw the 5 out of 100. And they come out.
I think it goes the other way too. There's no different than in sales. When you're hot, you go through the streak, you feel like you're on the top of the world. Mm-hmm. When you lose a couple and you just don't close these deals, you feel like nothing's working, and you almost have the mindset going into it that you can't win. It's going to be an uphill battle, and we don't know where G2's mental is right now. So that would be a concern that I have. But speaking of fraudulent teams, this last game is the king of fraudulent, which is Vitality, against a team that I just think is permanently overrated, specifically for fantasy though, and Fnatic. Upset's very good. The rest of the team around him is pretty good too. But this team, they feel like a better version of Misfits, and the fact that I don't think that they have it. They're good, but I don't think Upset has that dog in him. We know he doesn't. Hilly has too much of it. I mean, I think the only
Hilly's a god, dude.
Humanoid, no. Razor, no. Wonder, maybe he did one time. This team there's nothing about this team that they can win on any given day, but if they lose, I'm not surprised. Vitality just looks like a bunch of I don't know, man. This game looks like a mess. I'll take Vitality at plus 148. I'm thinking Fnatic still probably wins the game, but I think these teams are closer than what the odds indicate here.
Yeah, I think Fnatic are better than most people do, but because they so much of everything is perception, right? Like it's so easy to sit here and say, "Oh man, this team's bad," because like, all right, we didn't see them for a week. Maybe they lost the week before that, and they just had like a weird loss today. Ultimately, you've only watched 3 games. If you look at everything Fnatic's doing, for the most part, they're still a good team. They've just punted a couple games, right? I do think this number is a little heavy-handed. I'm with you on that part, but like I don't like Vitality. And here's the other thing with Vitality is like they haven't punched up well at all. I know they mentioned that today on the broadcast for the 10 minutes I was listening to it was like oh, Vitality haven't played well against the good teams, and for the most part that's been true. Like since this roster was put together, like they've kind of just gate kept. Like they've just smashed the bottom teams and then gotten smashed by the good teams. But I don't know. If you look at like that game today, like with the Kalista situation, that was a really, really close bot 2v2 and the entire game snowballed off of it. Like if they get the kill on the Kalista there and Comp doesn't get away with like an auto attack or two, that's a completely different game. I know that's like a butterfly effect thing and you can't look into too much on one game, but like that's just one example of that kind of situation where like you don't entirely want to look at I don't think you want to draw too many conclusions from either of these teams. I think what you said is right. Like I think this is a little bit heavy-handed. I don't think Fnatic should be this big a favorite, but I do like Fnatic to win this match. What about you, Moose?
Moose is not an LEC guy.
No.
Moose,
You're
you
muted,
muted,
bro.
by the way.
After seeing what I saw today, I don't think Fnatic are a good team. So there we go. There's my one game sample. I feel like it's closer than the odds say it is anyway.
So Moose, let's get you into something that's more
SK's free
comfort
money.
zone.
I'm quoting you on that one.
SK is free money, boys.
We've got the LCS coming back after a break, just like the LEC. We've got the 100 Thieves team playing a scorching hot FlyQuest team, looking fly. The battle of the best jerseys versus the worst. Moose, FlyQuest plus 176. Are you buying into the development of Johnson?
No. No way.
Okay.
That's it. It's not happening.
Well, that was okay.
I don't know. I don't think FlyQuest are a good team.
Same. But I've got takes on this one.
Well,
All right, let's hear the man with the real takes.
I don't think FlyQuest are very good. I don't think 100 Thieves are quite as good as everyone. The market. I'll say this specifically. I don't think the 100 Thieves are as good as the market thinks either. They're good. They should be favored here, but this is a little bit heavy-handed for me. I would be FlyQuest or nothing here.
I think
100 Thieves are
flirt
overrated.
with some unders.
They're just overrated. Like they're a good team, but they're way, way overrated. They've been overrated basically all of 2022.
I think you can take a little bit of your SK money and sprinkle it here onto FlyQuest after that bet hits because it's free money, right, Moose?
Yes.
What's the kill spread on this?
22.5.
6.5.
Like what is this
No,
line at the
that's
start of the
total
season?
Kill spread. Yeah, like
6.5. Not great.
What is this line at the start of the season?
100 Thieves minus like 400.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
I may get minus 195 plus 147, so it's not too far off, but like, dude, 100 Thieves are way too linear, dude. Like, if a team actually just prepares for them, anybody can beat them. That's the thing. Like, the players are good, they play well, like they are a good team. But when you have one trick, like when you don't have multiple pitches, unless you're Mariano fucking Rivera, you're going to get roasted at some point. You're going to get punished for it. And it could be any given game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will. So one thing I do want to mention is the LCS has been the league that's been bucking the trend where Red Side's been strong in LCS. Obviously a smaller sample, much smaller sample. But Red Side's like shade over 54%, which is like closer to normal. That's like, I mean, that's like the high end of normal, but after looking at what we've seen in the LPL this season, it's like, what is going on? You know, anywhere within that range is a lot more realistic, and that will probably normalize if I had to guess, like closer to 50-50, just because I think the schedule's been a little weird right now. But
CLG, big time red team here. EG, well,
dude, CLG, you know, I'm gonna entertain this thread. I'm gonna follow this for a second, and I want to look at CLG's red side games real quick. CLG's red side games were against Dignitas, TSM, Golden Guardians, and Evil Geniuses, right? So keep that in mind. The EG game, okay. Props for the EG game. That was good. The Golden Guardians game, I would say they probably should have lost that. Do you remember that game? That was like the 9-8.
yeah.
Goofy. Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, it's funny because when you look at Red Side in Academy, which I mean is not necessarily the closest parallel, but it is. It's not. It looks like it's still blue side bias at that point, but what do I know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fun. I don't know. I don't want to like. What do they call it? When you like see one thing and you draw the conclusions from the one thing, where it's like I don't want to like. I'm just like monitoring this elsewhere. I haven't applied the same kind of logic that we've seen in the LPL, only because the benefit of the LPL is that as lopsided as the league can be, like top to bottom, is that you do actually get a large sample like pretty quickly, right? Because there's just so many games and so many teams that macro trends like that, even if you just isolate them to like good teams against good teams, bad teams against bad teams kind of thing, if you just like put them in the buckets, you can kind of observe it, and it's like a lot easier to pick up on it before the season's over, as opposed to like the LEC where it's like, okay, like we're like almost halfway through the season now, but like we don't really know if this is real or not, you know? So something to monitor, but it's been the league that's bucking the trend so far. I would guess it's probably schedule dependent, but I haven't like gone and done like a full-on research paper on that or anything.
Well, no, Gelati, you've been one of the vast, or not vast, I would say one of the few defenders of Dignitas after what was a really disappointing first weekend where I think they had like 6 or 7 total kills. Only worse, or the only team that was worse was Immortals, who I still don't think has 10 kills on the season.
On the season, yeah, maybe.
But Dignitas is playing EG here. They do test that model that we said. Like, is this something that you just sprinkle like 0.25 or maybe even a half unit because they're plus 300? And like realistically, anything could happen. And as good as Evil Geniuses have been, since the playoff run, MSI coming into the start of the season, this is a team that, if you think back, kind of trolled some drafts, has shown a willingness to experiment within these best of ones and not necessarily take them serious. So at like plus 310, I hate Dignitas. I think most of these guys on this team suck, but like they can win this game at plus 310. I think it's good enough for me.
Yeah, I like the plus 9.5 and then the sprinkle on the money line. That's kind of how I've been approaching these underdog situations. It's like a little bit of like a hedge. Like it's like somebody might look at that and be like, "Oh man, well, it's just like bet it outright." It's like, yeah, it feels a little worse when they win, but there's also like the situations where like they should have won and somehow throw it like bad teams do, and you know.
So if you bet the 9.5, do you end up also taking the under? Because I think the large spreads like that should probably correlate specifically in a league that, your totals like 23.5, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't think like if the total's like 29, you want to do that because it could very easily be like I don't know.
Think of it in NFL Think of it in NFL terms. Like a 7-point spread matters a lot less if the total's 52 than it does if it's 41. Like same kind of idea here, where if this kill spread's 9.5, but the total is 21.5 or 22.5 as opposed to 28.5, that's a big difference, right? Like, sure. If you have a 28.5 point total, or if you have a 21.5 point total on a 9-point spread, you're assuming you're getting like a 14-6 kind of game, 14-7. That's a very, very, very small margin of error that's a very thin margin of error for the favorites, right? So I don't know. What's the total on this is 21.5, I think, right?
Well, and here's the other thing. Dignitas doesn't die a lot. Like they are a team that their DPL has always historically throughout the last year and a half been pretty low. So, I like putting those two together.
Yeah.
I just think it works out.
If
they end up winning and crushing, like obviously you might lose that, but maybe you sprinkle a little bit, tiny bit on the money line as well to kind of hedge that, and so you still come out ahead.
I like the to win one and then a quarter unit on the money line, so you get a 75-cent profit on whatever on a kill spread cover, but not the underdog win outright.
Got it.
You could, you can stake that however you want. I know some people would do like 2-1 or 1-1
Moose
or something.
What do you think here? This is your kind of, this is your alley, the LCS. You love it. You want to come back one time. Tell me about it.
This line's too big.
Yeah, right.
This line is just too big. This is the LC motherfucking S we're talking about.
Yeah. Yes.
Minus 450 is huge. Please.
It's the same logic as SK today or Astralis today. They're not we're not saying they're going to win the league. We're not saying Rogue are bad or G2 are bad by any means, but the number's just too big for a best of one coming off of a 2-week break.
Number's just too big.
Yeah. You don't know what this team could have. Dignitas could be playing Heimerdinger top lane or some shit. You can't prep for that as evil geniuses. There's no. Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, next game. It's always rough when you get to the LCS. It's the end of the show. There's not a lot to be excited about. We've got TSM running a new roster against Cloud9. Maybe this is the number. This is the cutoff point because I don't want any part of TSM here at plus 250. Their academy team has been absolute trash. Promoting guys out of that, going into Cloud9, who's kind of finding the groove, feeling good. I don't like Cloud9 at minus 350, but this game just seems like one that I'm going to probably abstain from betting anything. I'm not sure that there's a significant advantage anywhere on these. Maybe I'll look into it more tomorrow, but first glance, nah, I'm good. Moose, you good? Or you got something?
I'm good. I don't know what TSM is going to bust out tomorrow.
I think
I don't know.
Wait until
What's the state of
game time.
Yeah. What's the state of the organization? Are they still an organization?
Dude, all right. I'm going to go ahead and throw a word of caution out there on this one because every single time we have situations where there's behind the scenes or org trouble, every single time it has next to no effect on what's actually being played.
I don't care about the state of the org.
Who else had org trouble was the fucking Miracle Run Schalke team. Echo Fox went on a run after the Rick Fox situation.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you're bringing in
not as good players.
They're not good. The players before weren't good, but these guys aren't good. Cloud9.
Who's the best player in this game? Honest question. Be real with yourself. Who's the best individual player in this game?
Berserker? Fudge?
I think it's Maple.
It's Berserker.
Come on.
I think it's Maple.
Stop.
I'm serious. I think everybody else on Cloud9 is better than everyone else. I think Berserker is the second for what it's worth, but
why does Jensen keep playing Yone? This is I don't know. Maybe
I think this is a galvanizing spot. I actually like TSM here. I don't think they're good, but I think Cloud9 are improving and Cloud9 look a lot better, but I think you wait until tomorrow. There's no question in my mind that people are going to be all over Cloud9. They're going to be throwing it in parlays. They're going to be betting Cloud9 every which way. But wait until the game's tomorrow. Wait until tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and you watch this Cloud9 number end up being minus 400, minus 450. And then
if the TSN number gets to plus 300, I think I can get behind that. At plus 250, I want no part of it.
I think you take the kill spread either way. and then you wait and you see if this number gets bigger, and you take TSM on the money line too.
See, you know what's funny? You seem to take the dog kill spread. I like favorite kill spreads quite a bit. Like that's typically where I go. So it's funny that you go the exact other way.
So for what it's worth, I only usually play them when it's like 8.5 or better. There's sometimes where I won't, but like most of the time, that's where I'm at with them. And I mean, the reason for that is it's like what wins long term. Like
I don't know. I've been making a killing in the RLs, betting like plus 10.5, plus 11.5.
The RLs.
I'm going.
I don't want to say.
Going,
I actually. All right. So listen, this is dangerous because I don't want to say there's a big quality difference because I actually think there might not be between the RLs and the LCS. But the quality in the good teams in the RLs to the bad teams in the RLs, I think, is a much bigger difference than the LCS.
Well, I also think that their totals are higher, and so
yeah,
like, going back to it, if you're talking a 26 to 28 kill game versus a 20 to 22, and like we've seen how many times that the LCS has had like every single game go under, specifically on a Saturday, the first game back on a new patch. I mean, you can almost treat this like the first week of a season or whatever the case is, and just assume that it's going to be a little bit more.
You get the dog bump, you get kill spread bump, you get narrative bump.
I could use
everything's working toward TSM
personally.
Here. They're also just better than they were last season. I know people don't want to say that. I mean, that might not end up being the case with the academy players. I don't know, but
what the fuck is this line? Like, I have not looked at this, but
one more thing on that match. Part of the reason I like the kill spread so much is like anything greater than 6.5 in the LCS this summer is 12-6. Greater than 7.5 is 11-2. 8.5 or more is undefeated. So I mean, again, small sample, but just worth noting.
Anyway. Immortals plus 171, minus 220 CLG.
Is this the spot where CLG have created all the hype and they just like come crashing back down to earth and reality check everybody? I hate Immortals so much, but like, does this line not suss you the hell out? Like, I'm going to bet CLG here almost 100%, and I'm going to fucking hate myself for it. I know it.
I looked at.
Do you feel that way too? Like,
I don't know if you just saw it. I just saw what's the max that I can bet here.
Yeah,
it's apparently like $4,000, and I don't know if I want to have a Moose JDG moment where I'm maxing out on the book and I'm mad. But like this feels completely
feels like a trap, doesn't it?
It has less to do with how CLG have looked and more to do how Immortals have looked. And I think that there's obviously something that like CLG has looked like hyper aware of what the meta is, hyper aware of how they can play around some of these power picks and abuse different things. And who's the best player on Immortals?
Nobody.
Exactly. The CLG bot lane just walks all over them. Contracts is the adult version of Kenvi. Kenvi is the embodiment of what they're one and the same, but they're many years apart, dude. And Dokla is just so much better than Revenge. So much better. So I don't know, man. I love CLG here. Moose, what do you think?
I hate this match.
I like CLG. I don't like Immortals. The line's correct, so I wouldn't touch it.
I think the line's cheap, but the problem is the line is cheap based on what you've seen so far, but I also think CLG can be like, I think they are a better team, but I also think they might be a little fraudulent. But because they made such a drastic improvement, I think everyone's like, oh, they're just good. But Immortals absolutely suck. Like, they're bad.
Well, even if CLG is like all right, like just like
that's what I mean.
Immortals historically bad. Immortals is somehow they have a win, but they are what WE was with the other coach. They are like that Victory 5 team. They are just this Golden Guardians with Niles. Like that's what they are, dude. They're just bad. And they haven't figured it out in the week off.
Yeah, they are almost they're approaching below 1500 kill agnostic, which is like V5 on like winless series. Like, oh no, yeah, Revenge is obviously the best player on the team. Why else would they build around him, right? That's a good question.
So here's July. I'm just going to paint a picture for you. This is what's going to happen.
Just bet
tomorrow.
CLG. I'm
No.
gonna hate
Look,
it when
this
they
is.
lose.
Let me explain to you what's going to happen. You're going to lock in CLG. I'm going to lock in CLG. Really feeling good. You know, we're going to be browsing Amazon, thinking about what we can buy with our winnings from this game. And Immortals is going to come up. What side are they? Are they blue side or are they red side? What are they? So they're blue side.
Uh-oh.
And pick Revenge is there, and he does it, and he goes like this. This is what happens, and this is so we got this. It's pulled up, and we see, boom, Kindred. That's what that says. I know you can't see it.
Holy shit!
Kenvi gets Kindred.
They stop building around Revenge. They start building around Kenvi in a week off.
Yeah. Oh man, like we're all waiting for it.
The narrative, dude. I love it.
So that'll be
Like Kenvi
painful.
fuck.
I think it's still. Yeah, guys, check it out. Boom.
Nice, solid.
Yeah,
Shout out to all the bots out there.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. I'm smashing CLG here.
I'm
Last
betting
thing,
CLG.
Team Liquid, Golden Guardians, testing the narrative, plus 340. I think you take it. Licorice looks like shit half the time, looks great the other half of the time. You just have to hope that this is one of those times that he looks good. Team Liquid, to me, when we're talking about fraudulent teams, Team Liquid feels fraudulent to me. Like they seem like they're a good team, but they can't put it together. I don't know what it is about this team, but like this is a team of guys that don't fuck, except for Whippo in the jungle, right? Like Whippo, sometimes in top lane he fucks, sometimes he doesn't, right? But
No,
Bjergsen,
Whippo is always fucking.
Bjergsen doesn't fuck. Like he just doesn't. Okay, Santorin, come on, doesn't. Hands, no, and Core has. I don't know, maybe like all this beta energy around him. Not to say that like Stixay, Pride Stalker, and a Blaze Olive and this Golden Guardians team is filled with dudes that are just laying the pipe, but it's plus 340. I'm taking Golden Guardians. This feels just Moose. This feels fucking eerily similar to last night, where none of these picks feel good. But you have to take them because those are the odds. It's a week off. Moose, are you riding the GG train with me?
Yeah. I'll ride the GG train.
I'm in on GGS too.
GG
Plus
train.
9.5 and money line.
All right, I'm ready for all the favorites to win tomorrow.
So all right, so here's the thing, right? I don't think it's that hot takey, but I think Liquid looked like a potential league winner. But this is way too big a number. This is way too big.
They look like a potential league winner.
Golden Guardians are
LCS.
competent.
Bro, I think the Team Liquid would get their shit kicked in by half the teams in the LFL.
Maybe. But I think they look like the best team in the LCS right now.
I don't think they win the league, though.
Who's winning the league, EG?
I think it's EG or C9.
I like TO more than C9 right now.
I don't.
I think it's EG or TO. I like TO.
What about CLG?
No. Maybe. I don't know. The LCS always finds a way of proving me wrong, so
It'll be 100 Thieves and we'll all be wrong, right?
maybe. I don't know. 100 Thieves, it'll just depend on if they're good weekends or not. If they have like 3 back-to-back good weekends, then they win the LCS. I don't know. So here, the thing is, Golden Guardians, I think Golden Guardians have this like really like messed up perception, like especially in the betting markets. I think most people, if you ask like Joe Sixpack that only watches the LCS and doesn't really watch competitive league outside of that, I know a few of these guys. I should probably ask them what they think and fade. But like if you ask like Joe Sixpack, I think most people will be like, yeah, Golden Guardians, they're not that great. but like they're not the worst. The betting market thinks Golden Guardians is the goddamn worst team ever. Like, I don't know what like power numbers they're driving this shit from. Golden Guardians is not that bad. Like, they're competent. They're a fine team. They're not going to win this league, but they're probably going to be a playoff team. And I mean, I have them graded above average. The model has them graded above average. Like, they're not. I mean, there's a big drop off between the top teams in them, but still, like, they're clearly better than these other teams, like the bottom of the table. And they're competent. They'll if you give them a win, they will take it. So I think coming off a break like this, again, same kind of logic. Like, it's too big a number, best of one, coming off a break. You never know what the hell they've got cooked up. Yeah, I'm about it. Especially because Team Liquid, I like that Team Liquid have been aggressive and pushing the pace and trying to go underneath people to punish some of these teams, but like that can backfire. You know? Golden Guardians
obviously, you know, top to bottom, they're a much better and more talented squad than a lot of these teams. But again, bro, like they just don't have enough tea, dude. There's just not enough tea running through their veins. Team Liquid, they just don't fuck enough, man. They just don't.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you guys. I like Golden Guardians in this spot.
Like, this is a team full of Robins. Okay, there's no Batman.
No Batman. There's no Batman.
There's no Batman at Golden Guardians either.
Yeah, I guess so. That's fair.
But
I don't know. Like they're kind of like each other a little bit, right? Where it's like
Golden Guardians is the worst version. Like,
yeah,
they're the 10. Like, this is Team Liquid in 10 years or something like that.
This is like you have like Coca-Cola.
Like, Hans is trying to like hold on to a job. Hans is holding on to a job. He couldn't make it as a coach. He's trying to hang on to an LCS job or something like that. And then he's got like
maybe
because look, when it comes down to it, we know Bjergsen can coach. He can't build on Corky. We know that too. We know. I feel utterly confident that Whippo would be a phenomenal coach, and he will be at some point.
Whippo's still a really good player, dude.
Bro, I wish he was still in the jungle though.
If Whippo
was a better jungle than he was top, 100%.
Kind of. I'll see. So I'll say this. This meta isn't doing him any favors because like it's all about how good do you play Gnar and Gangplank. But here's the other thing with Liquid is like any team that Whippo is on, they more or less let him dictate what he wants to do, which I actually like with a player like that that's that confident in his own ability. Like, so if they've got some counter picks cooked up for this shit, I think they were willing to let him do it. Like, that's the good thing about having it. Like, there's bad things about it too, but the good thing about having a team full of veterans like this is that the coach ends up playing kind of like a Phil Jackson role where he's just kind of like letting them do their thing and mediating. And I think if they let them do that, like this team's going to be really, really good. Yeah.
So
numbers too big though.
Like, do you think he's going to play Shyvana tomorrow?
Possibly. It's good. Pick's good right now.
I feel like that's like a Whippo pick tomorrow.
I don't know. He might do with that if he's been watching the Shy. Maybe he'll play a Zero Top or some shit. I don't know. Did you see any of that? The Shy played like 40 games of his ear top lane in solo queue, and then he picked it. They like telegraphed it. We saw it in game 1. They banned it. I was like, oh man, what the hell's that about? And then like the next game he played it, I was like, all right, I guess there's something to that.
They lost that game too, as I recall.
Yeah, they did, but
and he looked terrible on it. Yeah, but like the pick's obviously still pretty strong into into GP.
Yeah, he picked
right?
into Gangplank. It actually makes a lot of sense into Gangplank, but
wow.
Yeah.
Final thoughts
numbers too big.
Final thoughts on LCS Moose. Me personally, I'm probably going to slam every unit that I win in LEC and LPL, whatever it is. I'm putting it into CLG. I'm going double or nothing on CLG. Whatever I win, double or nothing.
Which means you're playing what's like Immortals in the 15, right?
Yeah, the 15's not even big enough to play it, so it's kind of like lame.
Game stack.
I like a double dog play.
What's
I
your
like
double dog play?
I like Golden Guardians with whoever it was. Where are we at?
TSM.
I like TSM. I like Golden Guardians more than I like TSM, but I like them both.
Moose, who are you playing in the comeback tomorrow? Give me your 4 stack.
I'll probably play either Golden Guardians. Yeah, you could do Golden Guardians and like CLG or something.
Golden
I like
Guardians
that
Fly
too.
Quest.
I like that too.
Not playing Fly Quest. The Chad Quest is not in tomorrow.
I like
All right,
Dignitas
guys.
too.
Play TSM, bro. Fuck it.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Play some dogs in LCS tomorrow.
You always should play dogs in LCS. You need to be an independent thinker. Don't let the odds
Could
tell
somebody
you who to
explain
play.
this to me?
Yeah, this was the
Is this
whole.
just a meme?
This was the whole like the bias, the
Oh,
Jake
that guy.
thing where
Okay.
he said he was an independent thinker.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Forgot about that. No.
Forgot about that.
and then we found out like he blocked B, blocked Nathan, turned his Twitter private, and yeah.
I forgot about that whole situation. I wonder why.
Yeah, man, it's evolved. So
I probably-
all right, well
I probably
we're
just,
out
I
of
probably
here.
just brought a reckoning upon myself with that, but whatever.
No, he's always liked you. So I know he's watching. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's got a little smurf in the Discord. I know which one it is. Nevertheless, we're out for today. Maybe we'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we won't. Who knows? But for sure, we'll be back next Tuesday. We do have a big game next Tuesday. Let's take a look here. Well, actually, what moves into Wednesday? I think it is
Gen G next week, right? I think on Wednesday.
like the Wednesday game though. Oh, it's top RA, BLG, RNG. Like it's a good. It should be a good one at 7:20. So we'll see you back then. Then we're back. Fuck, dude. This is what happens when I don't drink for a while. It gets terrible. We might be back tomorrow. I don't know. Fuck it. We're over. I'm just hitting the button.